That's kind of surprising because there's a lot of like ambiance noise.
Yeah, well, it's
Yeah.
a directional microphone, so
Yeah, that's good.
like, and also I can hear roughly what's coming in. I mean, you hear outside of the microphone. Like it's not
Yeah.
my earphones are completely isolated, but it helps.
Cool.
And the levelator at the end will bring all the ambient noise down and bring us together.
Okay.
I don't know how exactly it does that, but
Magic.
but it
Audio
sounds pretty
magic.
good, and it's also consistent across all my podcasts that they all are at the same level.
Okay.
So if you listen to them back and forth, I don't need to worry about like the
Yeah, well, one won't just get super loud.
yeah, those ones.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so what's your name and what's your game?
Hey, I'm Michelle Jewett Silva. My most recent game is Salt and Sanctuary.
What did you do on that game?
For that game, I did a lot of art, design, helped a little bit with sounds, and for a company, I do a lot of like the business side of things, manage our community, handle like our Facebook page, social media, our blog and such. A lot of the extra stuff that's like the stuff that needs to get done, but it's not necessarily fun development work.
Oh, okay. So how long, like, Salt and Sanctuary was in development for?
It's about
At the part where you were doing art.
where I was starting to do art. Okay. I guess about 3 years. Yeah.
Okay. And like art's just everything, animation,
So
concepts.
a lot of concepts, mostly doing the 2D like drawing elements of it. A little bit of animation. James is more like the animation pro. I'll do like basic animations and he'll go in and tweak it. But what I did a lot of is go back into any art he creates and just fix it up and make everything really cohesive and have like a consistent style. I ended up doing a lot of the like armor sets, the hairstyles, things that are like cosmetic. That's like my thing I love to do is all the cosmetics.
All the customized.
Yeah, all the customizable stuff, yeah. It's a lot of armors, some creature design. Creatures and hair and costumes are the things that I love to do.
So how do you, as an artist, I know this is something we experienced on Dark Ascension with Chris, like, how do you stay consistent over like years?
Yeah, that's
of doing
definitely
art?
it's definitely tough. I think it's more like we try to stay consistent to a kind of style, but you can definitely see our art develop over the years. So like if you go from the first game that launched on Xbox, the Dishwasher Dead Samurai, that was entirely all James, you can see an immediate improvement from that to Vampire Smile. And then there was a bit of an art change with Charlie Murder, but people definitely still could tell that it was the same company that made it because the characters are consistent, like their proportions and generally the way they look is the same, but they're more colorful. And Salt and Sanctuary has like, you can tell it's the same style of character, but we really started developing the depth of things like the background art. So you can see like there's a more painterly style with the background art, but kept the same overall like feeling of back with the Dishwasher with the more desaturated, more grim kind of color scheme, with then a few pops of color here and there to kind of emphasize things that are important or to convey a certain kind of emotion. So like the sanctuaries are like your refuge, your home. Those are going to be more colorful and warming and inviting. And then as soon as you leave your sanctuary, that's when it's going to become like dark and grim and really like hopeless feeling and really more uncomfortable. Like you're supposed to feel unsettled being outside of your sanctuary.
Through the actual production of the art assets along the project, did you have any trouble like keeping it consistent? Like, is
yeah.
one area like you look at and go like, oh man, that was like a year ago me, and I'm way better now.
There was some trouble with consistencies with. I have a pretty different style than James does normally when I do my own personal art, and it was a little bit challenging to go from like, here's how I want to draw something, and then taking it, just kind of like bringing it back and be like, it needs to fit in with the style. So what I'd end up doing is like I'd draw concept art for a piece of armor, and it's like, this would not fit the character because the proportions are completely wrong. Like the proportions are for a more normal size proportioned human, and our characters are very like big heads, long torsos and short little legs. So I'd have to like really adjust it, and sometimes that was a challenge to adjust that, and like sometimes I'd have to draw it entirely over rather than trying to like squish it in Photoshop.
Was there a lot of kind of just throwaway?
There was a lot of throwaway, yeah, like
Because the gameplay is also like seems to be linked to the animation.
Yeah.
There's like that kind of character action.
Yeah,
so
there's a lot.
Big monster swinging at you, and that swing changes. Then
yeah, there was a lot of there were a lot of iterations in animation. So we'd start out with like pretty simple animation, and then we'd go back in later and add more. Like, you know what? I think the scythe needs a cool execution set as well as just swinging it around, especially. Like the whips animation set is pretty limited, so if we could like go back in, we'd probably add more whip variation because it's pretty basic right now.
what did you use for like animation tools?
James developed his own like animation tool that he's had it working since the first Dishwasher game.
Oh,
so it's
wow.
really the same base animation that he's just iterated and improved on since the very beginning. Yeah, he's definitely improved the tool over the years. There's finally, with the end of Charlie Murder, he finally added hierarchy. So before, we just had like pieces of characters in the tool, in the editor, and they weren't attached to each other. So if you have a character with tons of pieces on it, especially monsters that have lots of
Big
limbs,
boss,
lots of big pieces, you have to individually move each piece to animate it. And now we finally have hierarchy, so you've got like the hands attached to the forearm, attached to the upper arm, attached to the torso. So we finally have like that parent-child hierarchy, which just makes animation so much smoother and easier. And then you can do more complicated characters with it as well.
And you were involved in the previous projects as well?
A little. So this is our first game that we've, from start to finish, worked on together. I came on like the end of Vampire Smile, and Charlie Murder was previously like he had started it as this smaller indie title, and then I was with the company when we got the contract to make that into a full Xbox Live Arcade game. So I've been with him since Vampire Smile, but Salt and Sanctuary is the first one that like we both kind of came up with together and worked on and completed as like our first. This is our game together.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
So we're here at Steam Dev Days. One would think there will be a musical performance at the after
Yeah.
party. Who do you think the musical performance will be?
So last time I kept hearing it's going to be the presidents of the United States of America playing, and it ended up being them. But in the space we're in, I don't really see where there would be a stage or
There's
that kind of
just a DJ
performance.
booth
There's just a
in the
DJ
middle.
booth in the middle. So I don't know. I don't really know any DJs, and I think
What's the first DJ that comes to mind
any
when
that
you
I
think
could
of
name
DJs?
like Deadmau5 or does Skrillex do he's DJ, right? Kind of.
I can
I
only
don't
name
know.
DJs that are like
Those are the two
hip hop DJs.
Yeah, I don't
like
really
I
know
would go
DJs.
like DJ Premier
Yeah.
or DJ Babu or DJ Format.
I think like I've heard things by DJs, but I can't really name any. Yeah, I don't really know.
Well, thanks for being on the
Yeah.
question bus.
Yeah, thanks a lot for having me.
Is there anything else you want to plug?
Want to plug? Salt and Sanctuary if you don't already own it.
can you get
it's
that?
Great. You can buy it on Steam and PS4.
How much is in America?
It's $17.99, which
How
is
much is in Canada?
about the same.
Canadians getting a deal. You guys don't have any social media accounts?
Yeah, we do. We've got our @Ska Studios account, and I have my own @ShellDragon.
What about Snapchat, Instagram?
Yep, all of those. On Instagram, I'm ShellDragon Studios, and everywhere else, it's just ShellDragon. The
Okay.
same, like SHELL
Do you
Dragon.
post your like illustration art
Yep.
anywhere publicly? Where?
Yeah, so I post art on DeviantArt, shelldragon.deviantart.com, and then I usually link that to Twitter and Instagram, and I have a like personal artist Facebook page as well.
I think DeviantArt is Vancouver based.
Oh, really?
Because
Interesting.
I ended up in this like co-work. Well, I went to a co-working space event and it was a DeviantArt
Yeah, DeviantArt is definitely
banner.
a strange website that has the kind of weirder side of the internet on
Yeah,
it.
you definitely feel weird going into an event and then it
Yeah.
says DeviantArt on it. I'm
DeviantArt.
like, okay, maybe I've
Oh, okay.
overstepped my boundaries.
The name of it really does describe what it is, but I've just been using it for so long that
Yeah.
that's where I post my
And
stuff.
it's a community, and you probably have your following there. And
Yeah.
you're also posting it other places. So.
Yeah. Yeah, Instagram is like the new hotness where people post their art, so I have that account too.
We're able to automate
Yeah.
it, so like everything goes.
I could, but I kind of like personalizing it because if I have tags or something, I can.
tag
can-
it specifically
Yeah.
for the platform.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, well, thanks again. I hope you have a good rest of your day.
You too.
It's the last day of Steam Dev Days.
Last day.
Overall, good.
Yeah, it was overall. I like this.
Did you spend
event.
100% of your time in the lounge?
A lot of it, yeah. I mean, I spent some time in that hall, the main hall, but they had a simulcast going on in this room, so I ended up just watching this over here, where it's more comfortable to hang out. Yeah, it's fun. It's fun. The show is always pretty good.
Yeah, it is. It is.
I mean, this is the second year.
So
they've
the
been
first
doing
year
it.
was good, and this year's good.
Yeah, I think
And it's super convenient for you.
It's very
to
convenient
go,
for us because
as
we
well
live,
as us.
We
in
live
Vancouver.
nearby. I kind of wish the talks were a little bit more technical and like more deeply involved.
They were like that the first time.
Yeah, the first time they were, and this
But
time
then
seems more
scared
general.
people, I guess.
It seems more like broad strokes. So, actually, the panel they were showing right now is more what I was expecting and hoping for, where they have like a panel of experts and people ask them questions to get more specific.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always like Q&As because I feel like it adds a dynamic to the show and a certain amount of variance
Mm-hmm.
of like, where were they sitting? Did they even go to the show? Like the amount of stuff that has to come together for them to ask that question.
Right.
I always find cool.
Yeah, it's interesting. But the way Valve does things, it's pretty iterative, and they definitely learn from each thing that they do. So I only expect it. If they do it again, I expect it will be even better every year.